Today I want to talk to you about QR codes. Nowadays, QR codes are used all over the place because they are so easy to make and they are very, very convenient for businesses and websites. A QR code can be made by anyone at any time in a matter of seconds. This is my QR code for my Nut and Candy website. It took me literally 12 seconds to make on Canva, which if you scan it, it goes straight to my Nut and Candy website, kindanutty.com, if you want to go check it out. It's also linked down in the video description if you don't want to scan a QR code, which I would not blame you because after today's video, I would be scared to scan any QR codes myself because even though businesses are using QR codes to make life easier for their customers, scammers are using QR codes to steal your data, your money, and even get unfettered access to your phone. Now, before I get into the scams, in case you have no idea how a QR code works, if you're currently living in a sheltered world where you've never had to scan a QR code, again, a QR code looks like this. All you have to do is open up your camera on your phone, hover over the QR code, and there will be a clickable website link that you can click on to take you immediately to a website. So this is really convenient for customers and people who need access to possibly paying for something online. It's very, very simple because you don't have to do any Google searches. You don't have to find a website. You don't have to type a whole bunch of stuff in. It's literally just, hovering your phone with the camera open over a QR code and tapping the screen. That is what makes QR codes so convenient. And the problem is people are getting so used to using QR codes for things that scammers are starting to take advantage. And today we're going to talk about 10 ways that scammers are using QR codes to steal from you. Scam number 1, the fake QR code for parking meters. This is actually something that I just recently had firsthand experience with. So I live in the Wichita area and I don't typically have to pay for parking unless I'm going to downtown Wichita. There was a really big fair that I was a part of. It was the Women's Fair of Wichita. And in order to get optimum parking, you had to pay for parking. But much to my surprise, when I arrived in the parking lot, there was QR codes everywhere because it was going to cost me $5 to park in that parking lot. And this was the first time I have ever personally encountered a QR code to pay for parking. Usually there's like a kiosk, you walk up, you put your money in, you get your little printout, you stick it in your window. That's the kind of pay for parking that I am used to. So paying for parking via QR code was very, very different for me, but I have to say, it was convenient as hell. I liked being able to just sit in my car, hold my phone up, and I could literally scan the QR code, just kind of zoom the camera in, scan the QR code, tap on it, go to the website, pay my $5, and then go on about my business. But scammers know that lots of places are now starting to use QR codes to pay for parking. And now how exactly does a scammer take advantage of this? So they can do it one of two ways. They can either print out their own QR codes and paste it over an existing QR code so that you have no idea that you're scanning a QR code that belongs to a scammer. You could think that you are actually scanning the QR code because it looks like it's printed on the actual signage of a parking meter or a parking space, but it could just be a sticker that's placed on top of the legitimate QR code. So that is one way that people are putting fake barcodes up for legitimate looking parking meters and parking spaces that require paid for. The other way that they are doing this is they are going to parking lots that don't currently require paid for parking and putting signs up thinking that people will just assume that now they do have to pay for parking. So it could be a parking lot that's around a venue or somewhere where people will need to walk a distance, like in downtown cities. They might put up a sign or two in front of one or two parking spaces and hope that people scan that QR code to pay for parking. But here's the funny thing. These particular scammers might not necessarily be hoping to gain access to your phone or your emails or your passcodes or something. They might actually just want your $5 that you're going to pay for parking. So people are unknowingly paying some Joe Schmo scammer guy that happens to put up a QR code in front of a parking space, you think that you legitimately have to pay for parking in order to park there, but nope, it's just a scammer wanting to collect your 5, 10, 20 bucks for the use of the parking space. That's all it is. And for this particular circumstance in Austin, Texas, there was actually 29 fake QR codes found on legitimate parking meters. And every single one of those 29 QR codes was directing customers to phishing sites. Scam number 2, and this is the one that I have personally most recently heard of. It is the unsolicited package, including a QR code. So people on social media have been reporting receiving packages that really contain nothing except for a QR code inside. Now, these QR codes could be advertising doing anything, receiving a free gift, possibly getting a coupon code, or something just very mysterious like scan here for your treat. But if you do happen to scan these QR codes from an unsolicited package, you would likely be sent to a phishing website or have malware installed on your device. So if you get any unexpected package that contains a QR code, do not scan. Scam number 3. Phishing emails that include a QR code. There could be emails that are impersonating legitimate companies that include a QR code for you to scan to update your account information, subscribe to newsletters, get coupons. But if you scan these QR codes, you would not be led to the actual company's website. Instead, you would be led to a copycatted website to log in, and then they would steal your login information. Because I don't know about you, but there are so many websites now that require you to have a login and a password. Lots and lots of people use the same password across multiple websites. So if you happen to go to one of these bogus websites, a copycat website that looks like a legitimate company's website, you go and you log in, you are essentially giving these scammers a passcode that could potentially be used for multiple other websites, including your bank, or even the login for something like your Pizza Hut so that they can order pizza on you and use the card that you have saved in your account to pay for it. But most times these emails will just impersonate a company like Amazon, Walmart, a really big company that you possibly do business with. And these emails might say something like there is an issue, and to use the QR code to instantly log in and correct the issue. But never scan QR codes. Even if they are coming from a company that you trust, that email could very well be fake. Just recently, I did a video, I will make sure to link it, about an Amazon email that was 100% fake. This email was trying to get people to click and log in to steal their Amazon information, or worse. The best thing that you can do, even if it is a legitimate email, the best thing that you can do is to never scan the QR code just as a precaution. Just simply go into the website and log in yourself. That way you know that the website you are logging into is legitimate. Scam number 4. Tampered with QR codes on menus. I remember when QR codes at restaurants suddenly became a thing. I personally thought it was a little weird, but it happened when, the Rona pandemic started happening. When people were going back out to eat, they didn't want to spread germs, so a lot of restaurants just kind of like menus. And if you wanted to look at their menu, you had to scan the QR code that was printed and stuck to the table, and then you could use your phone to look at the menu so that there wasn't a bunch of, cootie written menus being passed around the restaurant. Well, unfortunately, scammers learned that a lot of people were doing this, so a lot of scammers started putting the stickers of their own phishing email or malware installing sites, their QR codes, over the QR codes at tables in restaurants. It is not difficult to have a QR code printed and made the exact same size as the restaurant would have it on the table. So if you are looking at the QR code on a table in a restaurant and it looks like there might be more than one sticker on the table where the QR code lies, do yourself a favor and ask for a legitimate menu. Or if they don't have a menu to give you, you can Google the name of the restaurant and look at their menu online. Don't scan the QR code. Scam number 5, malicious QR code apps. With the rise and popularity of scanning QR codes, there is actual apps out there that you can download for scanning QR codes. And there's a lot of people that think that you need to have these apps in order to scan QR codes, and that is not the case. So then it ends up being the QR code apps themselves that are stealing your information, installing software on your phone, and getting their dirty little fingers on all of your private information. I am here to tell you that when it comes to QR codes, you do not need to have a QR code scanning app. You can simply use the camera that is on your phone to scan a QR code. You do not need to download a special app, so don't do it, because a lot of them very well could be scammers trying to get your information. So that is a way that QR code scammers are getting you without actually getting you to scan a QR code. They just want you to download the app. Scam number 6, cryptocurrency investment scams. With the rise in popularity of cryptocurrency, there is a lot of people that will be running live on YouTube. They could be posting videos on Twitter, and a lot of them will have QR codes and ask you to scan to either receive free cryptocurrency, ebooks about trading cryptocurrency. The possibilities for QR codes to be tied into crypto scams is great, because QR codes are actually seen as being an advancement in technology a little bit, because there can be a lot of data that's tied to a QR code. So a lot of tech savvy people might be into QR codes and might be just as easily to, scan a QR code for something having to do with cryptocurrency, whether it has to do with investing, getting freebies, learning information, or getting trade secrets. So do yourself a favor. If you see any QR codes tied to cryptocurrency, do not scan it. It's not worth having your information stolen. Scam number 7, fake online marketplace transactions using QR codes. There will be scammers on platforms like Facebook Marketplace that will send QR codes to sellers that actually lead to phishing websites. In Australia, there was fraudsters who posed as buyers, and they began sending QR codes to sellers, and that is how this first became known as being a widely used phishing tactic. And now this is not just potential buyers sending QR codes to sellers. This could also be sellers sending QR codes to buyers. So if you are doing any sort of business on an online marketplace where you are either buying or selling merchandise, if a buyer or a seller sends you a QR code, do not scan it. Scam number 8, invoices that include fake QR codes. This kind of goes along with the emails containing QR codes. So there could be scammers that are impersonating legitimate businesses, sending you a QR code to pay an invoice. It can be very, very easy for someone to find out what companies you are paying for services for. For instance, I have almost everything that I pay every single month on auto pay, so I don't really need to think about it. However, one of the services that I personally use that I do not have auto pay for is pest control. So if I have them come out every quarter and spray my property, I need to actually pay that bill. I have to wonder how difficult it would be for a scammer to find out the customers of certain pest control companies, find out their customers, and just start sending fake invoices to their customers, including a QR code to get them to pay an invoice. It really can't be that hard. I would assume that scammers can get their hands on customer lists for almost any company. If a scammer is good enough to create a QR code and develop a phishing site to steal data, surely they can find a customer list for pest control. So if you ever receive an email or a text or a letter in the mail that just simply includes a QR code saying, scan the QR code to go pay your invoice, don't do it. Just go direct to the website. So number 9 is the one that I personally feel like is the most sneaky and really, really smart on the part of the scammers. Number 9 is fake parking tickets, including QR codes. So what'll happen is a scammer will place a fake parking ticket on the windshield, hoping that they will just think it is a normal parking ticket, scan the QR code, and go pay their fine online. Now, similarly to the parking meter QR codes, it might just be somebody wanting to collect money, but on the off chance it's not, they're sending you to phishing websites or installing malware on your device. Or they could be doing both. They could be collecting money from you and installing malware. Why not both? So if you happen to see a little slip under your windshield wiper and you suspect it's a parking ticket, but it contains a QR code to scan and go pay your fine online, don't do it. If you're really concerned that it's a legitimate parking ticket, call up your county and ask. Call up the county, call up your city, and ask if you have any outstanding tickets. That little bit of inconvenience is going to be well worth it if the QR code is a fake. Scam number 10 is just QR codes being sent by scammers within messaging apps. Now, there could be no rhyme or reason. They just might be creating scam accounts in Facebook Messenger or texting apps, WhatsApp, Google Voice. They might just be creating all of these accounts and just mass sending QR codes to people with maybe a tagline saying something like, your invoice is due, or is this your website? They might be saying something that they think could entice someone to click. So if you end up getting a random message from somebody, even if it's somebody that you know, because remember, there has been a real increase in people having their Facebook accounts hacked lately. So it could even be looking like this QR code is coming from somebody you know, but it might not actually be them. So to just be safe, don't scan any QR codes that are sent to you unsolicited via messages. The best thing that you can do is always be skeptical. I am not saying never ever scan a QR code again, because I personally scanned a QR code when I paid for parking at this event. I'm, asking you guys to scan my QR code and go check out my Kinda Nutty website if you like fresh roasted nuts and candies. I would say the ones to be the most cautious of would be the ones showing up in your emails, your messages, your mail, completely unsolicited. Those are the ones that are going to be the most obvious. And then if you're out and about, whether it is a QR code on a table at a restaurant that you're eating at, or a parking meter, just look and see if it looks like there is a QR code sticker over the one that is there. Most times there will be signage where the QR code is embedded in the signage. There shouldn't be any lift. There shouldn't be a sticker on it. So if there's a QR code that is legitimately part of signage, it's probably fine. But if it looks like there might be a sticker on there, I wouldn't scan it. I would just, Google the website instead. Save yourself the headache. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the thumbs up before you leave. I greatly appreciate it. While you're down there, also remember to subscribe if you have not already. Ring that notification bell, that way you're notified whenever I post my next video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.